topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Hi, I'm Shelby Wagner, and I want to welcome you to my show, Learning to Dance in the Rain, which is inspired by my book called Learning to Dance in the Rain. It's a winner of multiple awards, including a silver medal, which is the second place award in the Living Now book awards for relationships and marriage. They considered it a good example of a life-changing purpose and goal. It is now in its third edition, so be sure when you order on Amazon that you get the third edition. And the second book I wrote is called Scams, and I just got this out about 6 months ago. And this is educates you about scams, which is really what I'm going to do tonight. Tonight is going to be the subject of how I was scammed and why I wrote these books to help you, so that you have you are enabled to say no and keep your money. Don't feel guilty that you haven't given it to that person that told you a lie. Maybe they told you that they needed for hospital care for their parents. Who knows what they asked, but they're all lies, and you need to know that. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Well, actually, it's tomorrow during the day. I'm going to be having surgery on the 2nd of April, and so I'm going to be missing a couple of events, and tomorrow I have to go for pre-op, so that's why I'm here tonight. So I wanted to tell you that I wrote the book Learning to Dance in the Rain. It says right on the bottom, surviving grief, internet dating, and romance scams. So that's the three of the 4 subjects it's about. The book is also, I had lost my self-confidence once my husband was gone and I was alone, single. And so I spent a lot of time trying to get my confidence back. And I'm here. So that means that I was successful, resilient, dealing with problems in a healthy way, and bouncing back and getting on with your life, looking beyond it. And that's kind of what I'm doing right now when I'm thinking about the surgery that I'm going to be having in a couple of weeks. Actually, I was told it was very necessary and then urgently putting me in. And so I'm looking to the other side when it will be done and over, and I won't have any of this trouble anymore. Okay, so how did I get scammed? Well, my husband, I think I told you last week, my husband died in 2016. We'd been married almost 50 years. 2 weeks before our 50th wedding anniversary, he came down with pneumonia. And we didn't know how bad it was until it was too late. But anyway, my daughter invited me to come back to Michigan. We had moved to Tennessee and live with them so I could grieve and be taken care of, and try to sell my house in Tennessee. And so that's what I did. But, after about 6 or 7 months, I decided I wanted to have a friend. I left my friends in Tennessee and some more friends over in Auburn Hills where I used to live. And so it gets a little bit more difficult, I think, to make friends when you're retired. Where are you going to meet them? Well, I joined the Commission on Aging, the senior center, and started learning to play cards. And I started taking line dance lessons, and then always wanted to learn ballroom dancing. So now I've added that to my list of activities as well. And I learned to play euchre. And I asked my son, and well, first I asked my daughter what she thought about me starting to date again. And oh my, she's, Mom, you're not ready. It's hard. It's a hard time dating, and you just don't remember what it was like when you were young. But she says it's harder now than it was ever when I was young, let alone when you were young 50 years ago. So I dropped the subject, and later on, when I went upstairs the next day, well, I called my son. He had met his wife on one of the dating sites, and but he didn't want me to go on it either. And but I should have listened to them. They were afraid I would get scammed, and I did. I turned down a lot of requests for money. Oh, I knew from what my kids said. And I said, no, I will not give money to somebody I won't know. I give to the church. I give to charities, and I'm not going to fall for those scams. But, you know, it's a problem with the scammers. They've infiltrated the dating sites and the social media, and they might send you a message of interest on the dating site. If you are there, saying, "Oh, I'd like to get to know you better," and they seem to have the same interests that you have, and maybe you're going to have a wonderful relationship, and it's exciting to start talking to someone new at first, and you vision that maybe it might be lead to something wonderful, and then when you start talking with them, golly, I thought, wow, I must be really popular. I was never this popular in high school. I got all kinds of, I think about 10 guys wanted to talk to me, wanted to meet me right away. And I thought, wow, this is going to be fun. And so I started talking to them. But you know what I found out? Um, well, the first two guys I met, the first three guys I met at a restaurant for lunch. One I met in the library, and we talked, and it was fun, and we had a good time. So they were not scammers. They were actually real guys, and I really liked one of them, um, but didn't work out anyway in the long run. But um, so get back to these scammers. Um, yeah, they contact you. Maybe they contact you on Facebook. It's not really safe to just befriend someone because they saw your profile or whatever on Facebook, and right away they start buttering you up, and oh my goodness, you're beautiful, and you sound so interesting, and you write so well. That's what I got. And your posts I love to read your posts, and all this flowery stuff. They're buttering you up. Like Karina said a few weeks ago, they are fattening the pig. And the victim, yep, that was me. And so anyway, there was this one guy. He needed money because he was a oceanographer or ocean. He was out on the ocean in a ship, and he was the engineer. And one of the something broke, a machine, and he needed to get a new part airlifted out there, and he needed $20,000. Ah, too bad. I didn't know how to block them at that time, but I know now that on my phone I can block calls, and I got smart after I got scammed. So that first scam was a romance scam. It's also called imposter scam because they are impersonating someone that they aren't. They've stolen pictures, they've stolen their profile, and they're trained what to say and what to do and what questions to ask so they can learn about you and try to find out your weak spot. And so I was on the dating site about 4 months before this one guy got to me. And I'm not going to tell you exactly what happened because that's in my book, but it just gives the scammers more material. But he was in trouble and he was stuck in a foreign country and he needed money to get home. And that's no, I don't have any money. I said to send you. I don't know what made you think that I had $20,000 to lend you. No. And so over the night, at the time, I was selling my house. So I was packing up. It was very emotional, a house that my husband and I had built together. All my things were going in boxes or being thrown away or given away or whatever. So it was a very emotional time. And I didn't know it, but I was also ill. And I had come down with a sinus infection, which then went into the flu and then led to strep throat over a 3-week period. And not only all of that, I was having a vacation and I was going to spend 1 week getting my house ready for the truck to come. I was going to spend the second week with my son and his wife on my way down to Myrtle Beach. And there I was going to meet my daughter and spend the third week on the beach with them. And here I am ill. Oh my, that wasn't, I'm selling my house that my husband and I planned together and built together. Talk about being vulnerable. I was packing up all my stuff to move to Michigan to be near my daughter. And I was sick. And I was looking forward to going on this trip down to Myrtle Beach. So here I was. I was very vulnerable, yeah. And so over a period of 2 weeks, um, he got to me. I'm dying. I'm starving to death. I don't have any money. They stole my money. I can't get home. I really need help, Shelby. And so I'm not going to go into particulars, but I sent him some money. I managed to find one of my bank's branches nearby down in Myrtle Beach, and his bank was not far. So while my family, I was in quarantine because I had strep throat, they said. And so the family was all off. There were 13 of them. They were all off playing golf and swimming, and I was stuck there by myself. And so I finally went and got some money and picked it up at one bank, drove it over to the other bank and deposited it in his account. How stupid. I mean, I really felt bad. I felt bad for this person. I thought, what if he's lying to me? He's probably lying to me. In fact, 90% of me told me that he was lying and that he was probably still somewhere in the States, not even over there in that foreign country. But I thought, can I let this man die from starvation? And I shouldn't have second guessed. I should have just kept saying no. Actually, if I had known how to block the phone call, I would have, or not but the whole number off my text messages, and because they're going to make you feel bad. Oh, You said you're a Christian. And you're not going to help. You're not going to help me? Huh. Well, I give money to my church. I help people there when they need money. I give the Red Cross. I give lots of different places. So, uh, no, I don't give money to somebody that I don't know and is halfway around the world, or at least says he is. And I don't even know if you are the person I think you're telling me. So anyway, um, so just before, the night before we were to leave Myrtle Beach, I got a call from the realtor. I'd had a buyer for my house, but they were unable to get a mortgage because it was an unusual house. As I told you last week, it was had 17 sides and was round. And for the mortgage to go through, they needed an appraisal. And with that appraisal, they needed 3 comps. And not only that, the houses had to be within 50 miles of that one, or 60 miles. And one of them had to be round, like mine. Well, I knew there was a house just 2 miles from me that had sold a year before I was trying to sell my house. And that would have been a nice comp, but no, had to be within 6 months. So the couple that was going to buy the house and decided that, I can't buy it because I can't get a mortgage. So there I am. I had this problem with the scammer. I was trying to get over strep throat, and who knows what else, sinus infection, the whole bit. And I was alone. I had nobody to talk to. And there I was. So anyway, I went back up to my house in Tennessee to finish packing and wait for the truck to come and get all of these compartments, things to put my stuff in. And I was still alone. I was still upset because I was having to leave this house that my husband and I had built. My husband was gone, and there I was. So I got into the car and I started north, and my phone started dinging. And here was this guy pestering me every 15, 20 minutes, half hour. Please, please send me money. Please, please send me money. So um, I thought, well, maybe if I could just get rid of him, maybe if I gave him some more money, he'd just leave me alone. Remember Karina a couple of weeks ago? She said, this guy she thought she was falling in love with, and they were involved with with the Bitcoins and all of that. And she got to the point where she just, I couldn't stand this guy anymore. I just wanted him to leave me alone. So in my book, I just told the story of stopped at a small town. I found out it had my bank branch in it, and it had his bank branch in it. And so I got off the expressway about 2 hours before I got to my home at my daughter's in Robin. And there I was in there, and I took out this money. They questioned me. Do you know this person? And I said, well, it's my son's friend. I'm not a liar, but there I was. I was so nervous. I was so emotional. I hated what I was doing, and yet I went right along and no, that's my son's friend. Well, she gave me the money and I put it in my purse and I left there. I drove over to the other bank and I went inside and they told me, no, Miss Wagner, we decline this deposit. I had never, ever, ever had that happen to me before. And I knew the bank, I had given them cash. How on earth could a bank deny accepting cash? And I said, well, what is wrong? And she said, well, your bank called and they want you to come back. They want to talk to you. So I put the money back in my purse. I was dead tired. It was it was just around 4 o'clock. The banks were getting ready to close. And I still had a 2.5 hour drive to get home to my daughter's. Oh man, it was what on earth? And I just was very tempted to just get in my car and keep going. Now, this tale is so difficult for me that I completely blocked it from my memory. And my daughter reminded me of it when I was trying to write a description of the incidents of being scammed for a film production seminar I was going to. And she said, when I got through telling her my summary, she said, Mom, that's not the reason that your story is unique. And I said, well, it's happening to everybody, probably about the same as it happened to me. She said, but you just got through telling me before you started that you needed something unique and you're not telling the story. And I said to her, what is that story of that unique? What was unique about me? And she said, the bank. And I said, what happened at the bank? I don't remember. So that's when she told me about it. And she said, Mom, you got home that night and I knew something was wrong. She said, you look like a zombie. I said, I did. She said, yeah, you never looked like that before, she said. And so, and then you sat down and you asked me, Robin, do you think you could send some money to this poor man who is starving in China? And she says, Mom, did you send money to this guy? And I said, yes, I did. And she said, Mom, you've been scammed. Tell me the rest of the story. So I told her what had happened at the bank when I returned. And when I got there, these two women, bank tellers, appeared at the door. And one was on one side of me and one on the other. And they said, come with us, Mrs. Wagner. We're going into the back room. Oh my, talk about being embarrassed. Oh my gosh. I thought I could give this guy some money and nobody would ever know the difference. But I got in there and I sat down and the teller came in and she sat down at the desk and she started writing. She let me sit there and wonder what the heck was going on. You know, how could what I have done, how could that be wrong? I took out my own money. And so finally, when about, I don't know, it seemed like 10, 15 minutes, but it might have been only 5 minutes. But she said, Miss Wagner, we think that you are being scammed. And I tried to keep my face from showing my emotion. Inside, I was like, here's my scale. On one side, it was saying, oh my gosh, thank God, somebody knows what this is going on. Yay. And on the other side, I thought, oh dear, what have I done? And the reason I brought it up with my daughter, this whole story, and not kept it to myself like I intended, is the lady was a part of the fraud department at the bank, my bank, and but it was in a different town, so they didn't know me and I didn't know them. But she said I'm part of the fraud prevention team, and you have exhibited signs that they've told me of someone who's very stressed, and these are some signs that a victim of scams, they taught us to recognize it. And so we called your daughter. And she knows about all of this. Okay. They told my daughter, oh dear, the cat's out of the bag. And so, they put a lock on my account. They called my daughter because she was co-signer on my account because I wanted her to be able to get to my money if I was out of town and couldn't do it. You know, she could send me some money. So from my account. But so here I am at Robin's thinking that she already knows the story. And she's finding out, oh, Mom, you're scammed. And Robin said, when I said that, my eyes fell to the ground and I just sat there. I was a broken woman again. I had been broken when I found out my husband had died. Oh my, so now I had been deceived. It didn't occur to me that until Robin, my daughter, said to me, but Mom, they saved you from giving away more money. And I thought, yeah, they did. But I wasn't thinking that at the time. So anyway, the whole story is in my book, and it was an extremely emotional time for me. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about is this. Being scammed victim is not the same as having your house broken into, or if you have something else bad happen to you, because in most of those cases, you don't blame yourself. Well, you might say, well, gee, did I leave the door unlocked? Uh, should I have had an alarm, or did my alarm not go off? But in the case of a scam victim, oh my gosh, you're angry. It's a mixed bag of emotions because you're angry at yourself for losing your money. You're angry at yourself because a lot of people, women and men, fall for their scammer. They fall in love with them, like Karina was talking about. Now, I didn't do that because um, I thought of this guy as a friend. And there was somebody else that I liked better on the dating site. So I didn't fall for him. But I gave him money. So he found my weak spot. And that was the starving business in China and whatever. But that's what it is. So I was angry at myself. I blamed myself. I felt dumb. How could I have done what I did? Um, and you know what? Not only are you angry and you're ashamed, um, but you feel betrayed by this friendship that somebody would trick you like this uh, and steal your money right out from under you. Um, Anxiety is there. You can't sleep at night because you're, oh, why did I do that? Why did I do that? And you're, I read, what does a victim do to help themselves get out of this emotional trauma? And it is still a trauma for me even today. I wish I hadn't done that. I wish I had been tougher and smarter and not have done that. And I can't tell you the number of people that have said to me, well, I just don't understand how anybody could fall for a scammer and give their money. And I'm looking at him and I says, hey, you just put me down because I did fall. And you just made me feel about so high. But I didn't say anything. And maybe I finally did tell one person, you say that. I've heard you say that several times. But that doesn't help me. Don't you think I feel bad? Don't you think I wish I hadn't done it? But anyway, so that one of the things that I read just on the other day is that you can have your family, you can talk to your family. Well, I talked to my family, all right, but you know what? They made me feel guilty, even guiltier than. And I'm sorry I have to say that, but I had to take my daughter down to the bank the next day. And the bank had said they would release my funds. They'd take the lock off, but they wouldn't. They wouldn't give me any idea of how long that hold would be on my money. And I was angry at the bank. I mean, okay, here's my daughter, so she's going to monitor me and not let me give anybody else money. But you know what? Um, that made me angry. It was very embarrassing. And also, after we got done at the bank, the two of us went to state police, Michigan State Police, and I reported it. And the young man says, "Gee, I'm really sorry that happened to you." But he says, "There's not anything we can do about it, and I'm sorry, but you're not going to get your money back." I knew that. It's just sorry, pat you on the back, send you on your way. Not anything we can do about it. So there again is that feeling of helplessness and why did I get myself into this? So I was really happy to meet some people on LinkedIn who understand. There's a group called AARS, Advocating Against Romance Scams. And I got in touch with them there. And through that, I met this other lady, Erin West. She's a deputy prosecutor in Santa Clara County out in California. Karina, I guess, has met her. And a year ago, she started a group called Operation Shamrock. Her goal was to figure out what they could do to help victims, support the victims of these crimes. Now, she's working with a new crime that mine happened in 17, but this new crime is now called cyber currency scam. Pig butchering, as Karina gave us that name. But at least somebody is finally doing something. And so Erin West, with her team, has been traveling around educating law enforcement people. And she started with 85 members of this Operation Shamrock. And now, a year later, I believe it was 1,600 people that have become members of it. And she says, enough is enough. It's time to end the cyber enabled crimes. Sorry about that. I forgot to turn off my phone. She says it's a worldwide problem and it's a worldwide solution, and they are assembling key stakeholders to fight a common enemy around the world. It's not just here in the United States, but over the past 2 months, they've met individually with stakeholders to determine the level of interest, the bandwidth, and suggested solutions. Government and industry leaders have responded with an understanding of the gravity of the threat and an unprecedented level of commitment to working in concert. And a written report documenting solutions will be provided to these parties, and the kickoff will be held on April 5th. And I've joined them with my podcast, and I'm willing to go out in the public and speak. They're going to be training educators what to say and a slideshow. And they have found with this cyber crime that it's tied in with um, organized crime in Southeast Asia and with human trafficking. And they are kidnapping young people from all over the world, and they are who think they're getting a job or whatever else they're thinking. I don't know. But this one young man who escaped from one of these and told a story, and the New York Times had it a few weeks ago. They have compound there in Miramar, and it's like a concentration camp. They have these young people trapped, and they have to make these calls scamming victims like you and me. Now, I have no idea about this. I don't know if this was happening back in 17 or if that person that scammed me was acting on his own. I do know that these people are trained uh, in every way to get your confidence, your trust, so that you will give them your money. And I think Karina was one that said that the two of the scammers were talking and were called clients. We also get our names on these sucker lists, and then it's like a telemarketers list where other scammers, oh, she's susceptible, so we'll call her again. And that I must get 10 calls a day that I don't answer anymore at all if I don't recognize the number, wanting uh, wanting me to buy something, do something, publish with them my book. They're publishing scams. And I have detailed 150 scams on my book. And this is your ultimate guide to help you, give you the support and the education that you need so that you won't be tricked into saying yes. We want you to say no. Just say no. I call it stop feeding the animals, or I mean, stop feeding the criminals, because that's the only way this is going to stop. Is if we educate people and to not give their money away to just. If you're going to give money away, then you give it away to your church or to known charity places that you contact them, not they contact you. If the bank, somebody from the bank texts you or on the phone or, um, uh, oh golly, pretend to be from your bank account and there's a problem. You call your bank and make sure that see if there's a problem, because 99% of the time, they don't know anything about it at all. I got something on my Facebook this past week that says they're going to shut down my Facebook page because I'm violating something or other. I don't know what I'm violating. So there's a number I'm supposed to call. I said, baloney, a website I'm supposed to go to. I copied that on a piece of paper. I wrote it down, and then I went to another page and I typed that URL into that that address bar very carefully. And then what did I get? The sign came up and says no such number or no such website or whatever. So that tells me that they're trying to get my information off of Facebook. Well, I'm not going to give them that. If Facebook wants to shut me down, well, then that's their problem because I've not done anything wrong there. So let's see what time we are. Oh, we've got a few more minutes here. So anyway, at least now there is a group of people that are trying to educate the law enforcement, and hopefully there will be. They're telling you if you're a victim, first of all, calm down. Take a break. It's a horrible time, but you need to get yourself. You were under a spell. You were hypnotized, and it's not your fault. Collect your evidence, and when you go to the police, you need to have numbers. You need to have deposit, all of that stuff. So keep it and that. And it says ask for the person at the police department that is in charge of fraud. And you tell them right away that this was a cyber crime. You tell them it was a romance scam, whatever. But the cyber crime, most of them are started by somebody contacting you for relationship, making all kinds of promises and telling you how beautiful you are and whatever. And oh, we're just going to be so happy in the future. And it's just terrible what these people are doing. So at least today, there's a lot of people trying to get the education out there for um, um, police department, law enforcement, so that they know what to do because they have to get on the case right away and maybe they can get some of your money back. If you let it go a day or two, you might as well forget it. The money is gone. If you've paid, especially with Bitcoins, all of that, you need to know, um, take your receipts in there and show them and let them know that this is a real problem and that you're not going to stop. And the more people that can go in together, if you know of other people that have been scammed, I personally would like to have a group of 3 or 4 or 5, 6 people that are willing to go with me to the police and let's talk to them and let's educate them so that they know where to find out the information they need to know to get your money back or get some of your money back. And I sure hope that that they are able to help you with that. Enough is enough. I think we've heard um, enough. And you know what? It's not just the old people. It's not just I have some statistic here somewhere, but they said right now the baby boomers are being targeted. And I've learned that the teenagers are being targeted even more heavily than I guess the scammers have found out that the older people, just because you've lost your husband or wife, doesn't mean that you've got a lot of money through inheritance because it just doesn't happen that way. And so always, always, always investigate a call before you buy something on the phone. Before you give them your account number, your credit card number, any of that stuff, be sure you're talking to a person that is really from that company. I got several calls. I was looking at to refinance my house, refinance my mortgage, and so I got several calls from this one company, and it said that he was on that company, and it was like Mutual of Omaha. So wow, mortgage. So I didn't even know they had mortgages. But so anyway, there was another fellow that, or 2, 3 other guys from the same company, contacted me because I had filled out something on uh, Home Advisor or something, and finally, I asked one of them, well, in fact, I asked 2 of them, do you know this person? No, but I said, well, he says that he's from that same company you are. And so he says, what's his name? And I gave him the name, and they told me, yes, he is one of us. So don't worry, you're not in danger of being scammed there. But anyway, so that's, I hope I've given you enough courage to, um, if it sounds too good to be true, most likely it isn't true. I'm sorry if they've promised you a very nice romantic relationship in the future, and then they get around to asking you for money, then you know it's all a pipe dream. Um, so anyway, so next week, let's see, next week is the 26th, and we're going to have um, Matt Thornton, who is an investigator here. He has his own business, he and a friend Jimmy. And they also have a podcast that they're going to be starting called Everything Investigative. And they're going to be talking about unsolved homicides, scams, and wrongful convictions. I really can't. I mean, there are things that I think that, oh man, to lose a son or daughter, you know, and they're not supposed to die before you, but I think that is unbearable, something unbearable. But here to be put in prison and wrongfully convicted of something, um, I've seen some of the movies that where people have been wrongfully convicted, and I thought, oh my, what an awful, awful thing to happen to them. I don't know how you could stay positive in that kind of environment. And resilience, well, I would hope that you would have the strength to get through that. But I'm very anxious to welcome Matt Thornton next week, and I look forward to finding out the information. Don't you wonder sometimes about the investigators when you see them on television? It looks like they live such an exciting life. You wonder how much of that is really true and how much of it is just hype. But I thank you for being here on my show and listening to me, and I hope I haven't bored you. Um, it's very important that we get this message out about the scammers, and the law enforcement has got to help us. So take care. Have a good week, and I'll see you next Tuesday, same time, 12 o'clock. Bye now.